In this video, I'm going to teach you how to become the monster who sets himself free. But it has to start with the question: what does the most free version of yourself look like? What limits have you currently imposed on yourself? And finally, who are you refusing to be? And that's an important question to ask. Who are you choosing right now to not be? Because there is a version of you that exists, as I say in many of my videos, that has complete freedom, who's making the money he wants to make, who travels where he wants, who can give back to his family, who can give back to others, who has a life that he's proud to live. Every single day that you're not living as the free and unleashed version of yourself, you're actively stepping away from the life that you should have. And that leads to another question, a question that you can answer and you can commit to answering right here. Why choose freedom? For me, and this question I had to ask myself, and I determined that I would choose freedom in my life, and I have freedom, and I continue to build freedom. For me, that question has three simple answers. Number one is I'm able to give freedom to others because freedom creates and attracts more freedom. So I'm able to give back to members of my family. I'm able to give to people in my life and bless them with the benefits that I have, whether this is friends, family, associates, business connections. I'm able to use my freedom to create more freedom and opportunity for other people. Number two, freedom allows you to build a foundation of opportunity that is bigger than yourself. And this is huge because if you're just limited to the opportunities that are right in front of your face, like I'm going to go go-karting, which is fun, but that's just an opportunity right in front of you. Or I'm going to eat something really nice today. That's an opportunity right in front of you. What about opportunities and experiences that are bigger than yourself? Again, like giving back to people. If you were to help poor kids in a country that is dealing with war-torn poverty, how do you help those children? That's an example of freedom that's bigger than yourself. If you go and buy your mom a car or buy your mom or pay off her house, that's freedom, that's opportunity, that's bigger than just yourself. So freedom allows you to do that as well. And number three is experience the best of life because you only have one chance. You only have one life that you've been given. I don't know about reincarnation. I don't know what comes after all this, but the way I live my life is that I have one life and there's no other chances besides this one that I have here. So what I need to do is do everything in my power to experience the best life that I can. Now, the way you're going to do this is by becoming the monster, as I call it, who breaks his way to freedom. Now, there's a couple of ways we can look at this, and we're going to approach the idea of freedom, the idea of success, the idea of living the life that you want on your terms, specifically when it comes to finances, making money, building that kind of life. We have to look at what it means to become the monster. Becoming the monster means living without the self-imposed limitations that prevent you from experiencing freedom on a scale that will change your life and your family's life. Okay, that's what I mean when I say becoming the monster. Being the individual, being the man who is able to live without his own self-imposed limitations, which oftentimes are created by society, that prevent you from experiencing freedom on a scale that will change your life and change your family's life. Because the greatest men in history, the greatest men who influenced the world, who made change, they understood that they had to be the monster at times to create that change. And the monster isn't a negative by itself. The monster doesn't mean actively hurt people, but the monster is the person that goes against the box, that goes against the grain. It's the person who does what is unconventional and is looked at like, why are you doing this? And that's actually the number one trait of becoming the monster. It's doing what no one else will do for the greater good. Okay? This is the analogy of the monster we're going to use here. Number one, doing what no one else will do for the greater good. And this means making difficult decisions for yourself and for your future. So it's interesting because this happened to me and I've lived this and I live this now. When I fully embraced my inner monster, which some people call the shadow, you call it the dark side. This is another angle we're taking, another way of looking at it. When I fully embraced this, something that happened is I began to hear some of the same statements from people around me, people that were in my past that I since have moved on from being around these people and aligned with them. But if you're going to be the monster, and I'm going to share with you what this looks like and how it sounds, there's difficult decisions that you're going to have to make that are going to alienate you from the common crowd, from people that are on the common path. Here's a couple things that I would hear. I would hear, you're an asshole. I would hear that a lot. You're an asshole. You're selfish, right? Why are you focusing on you and the things and your stuff? Why can't you just be normal? This was a big one that I'd hear when I would float from not wanting to just be in my normal 9 to 5. I used to work retail when I was much younger, and I was always thinking how I could either coach people or help people and start my own business and find my own path. I remember something that one girl at my job actually told me. She was like, why can't you just be normal? Like, you don't always have to be so extra with everything. Another one, why do you have to take things so seriously? And this is a really interesting one because I have a lot of friends, including myself, who take life very seriously in terms of our success. A principle that I like to say is I'm always living my life 3 months ahead of time. 3 months meaning for me right now, as of shooting this video, what is it, first week of May, I already feel like it's end of the summer. I have friends of mine, people I'm not close to necessarily, but girls that I've dated, people I talk to who are like, oh, excited that summer's coming. To me, I'm like, summer's already over. I need to be preparing for the winter slog, the winter grind, right? I need to be preparing for that now. And what I'm doing in the winter is I'm setting myself up so that I can enjoy the summer, because now the summer that I'm going to be able to have, I've built quite a deal of financial flexibility and freedom for myself. So now I can truly enjoy the summer, right? But I'm not thinking like in the moment. So people will say, why do you have to take things so seriously? Why does it have to be so serious? I'll be very honest with you guys. I just had a conversation with my mom recently. She's great. I love her. And she's such a kind, amazing woman. But she, of course, she doesn't think the same way I do. And there's no reason she should have to think that way. She doesn't see this vision. And what's very interesting is we had a talk the other day where she told me, she was like, you don't always have to be so serious. You can learn to have fun. And what was interesting is, for me, the fun of this journey is actually putting in the work. It is building. It is training, like here on YouTube. That's where my fun is, and that's the seriousness of it too. To me, the game of fun in life and this journey I'm on is actually a serious game. It's not something that I just take lightly. But hearing that is a good sign that you're stepping into the role of the monster. And then another one is learn to have fun, which I just said. Learn to have fun. Like, why can't you just have fun? Lighten up a little bit. And if you look at the monster archetype in film and in literature, if you look at monsters throughout film and literature, the monster was always the odd one out. They were always the one that was the weird one. And again, sometimes this went in a bad way as well. The monster was the villain, but generally the monster was always the odd one. They were the one that was rejected. They're the one that was misunderstood. They were not a part of the main crowd. So if you want to create the life of freedom and you want to take on the role of the monster, if you want to tap into the dark side, as we call it, you must accept, on an identity level, you must accept that you will be different. You're not going to be like everyone else, and that can't be your calling. And if your aim is to be like everyone else, I'm telling you, my friend, you're in for a rude awakening, because those who have the most success, those who get the most results, those who step up and tap into the life that they want to have and access freedom and fulfill their potential, they are different. They're misunderstood. They're not a part of the main crowd. They're traveling the road that is different and that is not traveled by many, but it is the road that leads to freedom. The second trait of becoming the monster is breaking your own chains. You must break your chains. They always put the monster in a prison, right? And in this case, in the real world, you being the monster, a lot of times these chains are chains either of your own making because of childhood or fears, imposter syndrome, not believing you're enough. And I say this as much to myself, by the way, because I've wrestled with these myself in my own journey, going from not believing that I was good enough to help other people, not believing I was good enough to build a business, not believing I was good enough to sell, to investing my time, investing my income, investing my focus in the skill, and having to accept and break my own chains and accept that I am the person who can get results. I am the man who can get success. I am the man who's deserving of freedom. So you must liberate yourself from your fears and limitations, because some of these are yourself, some are imposed on you by society. In my program, the sales coaching program I have, we talk a lot about handling your own objections. As some of you know, sales is my skill, is my primary skill. I've made a lot of money with high ticket sales, high ticket closing. And one of the things that I firmly believe in is that in order to lead others as a sales professional or even a business owner, you have to be able to handle your own objections and handle your own fears, which means break free of your own chains. And the question comes down to, what is it that you tell yourself? What are the stories? What are the ideas that you tell yourself that keep you stuck in place? What is it that you believe you can't do? And what are you telling yourself that you can't do? And for me and many others, guys that I train, guys I work with, guys that I know personally who I've helped to achieve freedom, there's a couple big ones. There's two main ones. Number one is the past. And the past meaning I fucked up before, I'll fuck up again. That's the past. Like, I messed up before. I didn't have success before. I chose the wrong decisions before. I'm going to make those same mistakes again. And the second one, the second chain, the second prison that I've seen that the guys I work with have to break out of is the people around you, judgment of others. There's a guy that I was training, a guy who trained in sales for a while, and he ended up doing very, very well. He's doing 15 to 20K per month consistently now with his business. Actually, I trained him in sales, and he's running a AI product development agency. And what's interesting with him is the people that were around him growing up always told him he wouldn't really amount to much. They were kind of like, keep your head down, just go to school, do what you're told, and that's the best you're ever going to be. And part of the journey that I had to go through with him when I was training him while coaching him, and he's a very dear friend of mine, very close to him, and he's done so well, actually. One of the things that I had to train him in was letting go of the limitations of the past, letting go of the beliefs of the past that held him down and that kept him believing he couldn't amount to more, because those were his chains, right? Those are the chains that are holding him back. So the question you need to ask yourself is, and even look at it very deeply, is what are the chains and the prison that you're in that stops you from being who you can be, the man who can have ultimate freedom? I want you to read the book Psycho-Cybernetics. If you can apply the teachings of this book, it's going to give you freedom. Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, that's my Bible. That's the book that I live by. And it firmly changed the way that I viewed myself and the way that I viewed my own approach to success. Okay? Psycho-Cybernetics, check it out. It's very, very valuable. And one thing that's really interesting, and I want you to really think about this deeply and not just take this idea for granted here as we come to the end, is the final point. You have to choose, because you're at a crossroads. You really are at a crossroads right now. You have to choose which path you're going to go down. And there are two paths you can go down. You can go down a path of excellence, right? Or you can go down the path of fear. You can go down the path of freedom, or you can go down the path of limitations. It's up to you. And that's what the third trait is. The third trait is become the monster. It's become the monster. Step into the monster. And by stepping into becoming the monster, what I mean is, don't settle for mediocrity. Don't settle for average. You must pick a skill set, because it all starts with skill set. Pick a skill set that will guarantee you freedom. Pick a skill set that's going to guarantee. And I don't mean this lightly. I'm not saying where, like, oh, I'll experiment with this kind of agency, this kind of ecomm, this kind of idea, this business model. No. I'm saying pick a skill set that is going to guarantee you freedom when you place it into the real world. And the best asset, by the way, that you can use to nearly always guarantee freedom is money. That's the best asset you can use. And if you didn't grow up with money, if you don't just have that asset handed to you, you need to work to acquire that asset. What I want you to do, and here's the instruction, here's how you're going to get freedom. Here's how you're going to gain freedom. Get into the flow of money and get good at communicating with and around money. The best strategy for doing this, easily, not a question, is high ticket sales. That's the best strategy for doing this. You place yourself into the flow of money, but you must be good. You must be good in sales. You have to be good, or you're going to suffer. And I know a lot of guys, these are the guys that come and train with me. You know, they get into high ticket sales, they join some program, they learn something that was kind of average, and then they suffer. They get some kind of gig where they're doing 2, 3K, maybe 4K a month, and then they suffer. The place to be is in the flow of money. It is selling items that are high ticket, but you want to be good. Because selling, and I'll tell you how this works, selling is the highest responsibility in a business. It's the lifeblood of the business. It's the literal cash flow. So if you can take responsibility for a business owner's biggest point of focus, you will find freedom, because you're coming into the flow of money. So you meet a business owner who's doing 500 million a year, and you're handling a piece of their sales process, of the lifeblood of their business. You're getting a piece of that lifeblood. You're getting that drip. You're getting that drip of freedom. That asset is coming directly to you because you're in the flow. You're having conversations for the business owner as an extension of that business owner handling their sales and bringing in the money. In high ticket sales, and something I've loved about sales, and it's changed my life, you learn leadership. That's number one. You're forced to become a high-level problem solver as well. And this really turns you into the monster, and it taps into your dark side and the rawest parts of you. You also build a network of winners. Some of the best friends that I've met have been in the high-ticket space, guys that are action takers, guys that are also running businesses that I've consulted for, that I've helped sell for, guys that are also selling. You build this amazing network of winners. You're also thinking like a business owner without all the responsibility of being a business owner. That's another huge part of high ticket sales. And finally, which I think is the most important part is you learn to take responsibility over your own emotions. And this is why I love the high ticket space. This is what it's given me. This is what I've learned. And that's it. At the end of the day, you have to choose, will you become the monster? Will you step into a life of freedom and a life of success? Or will you shrink under that commitment to yourself? Will you shrink under that responsibility, succumb to the pressure, and never dive into becoming who you know you truly can be and who you deserve to be? That's the question at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to. So I want to give you the opportunity in this video, just here, just as a commitment to yourself, to play this one game of life you've been given, and I want you to play it to win. That's it. That's how I do things. I want you to play this game of life, and I want you to play it to win. Okay? If there's any way that I can help you, if you want to jump in and learn more, come and join our school community. It's called Quantum Level. It's down below. It's for free, where we train you in how to learn communication, sales, leadership, those kind of principles. Or if you want to reach out to me personally, shoot me a DM on Instagram, say what's up, give me a follow. You can see all my stuff there. I post a lot of stuff that's quite helpful, and we'll go from there, and we'll connect in the future. Okay? Wishing you all the best. Keep grinding. Tap into that side of you that is real and that is going to win and going to have success. I'll see you on the next training. Be blessed.